Welcome back to the Professional Hate Watching Association. It is episode 12 of this tomfoolery, and I think we should get an Eck counter in the back because it's been, I don't even know how many weeks since we've seen Eck on this podcast.
Who knows, dude? Who knows?
No disrespect, of course. But I'm here with Daniel, of course. I'm Ethan, like always. A lot to talk about today. We're jam-packed because somebody decided to announce that he was coming or decided to make his season debut last night. And it wasn't, this wasn't no reserve player coming back, although technically he might be a reserve player in the foreseeable future. LeBron James is back, became the first NBA player to play 23 seasons, which doesn't sound real. He's been playing basketball longer than I've been alive, technically speaking, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's every time, I know that he's broken all the records. It seems like at this point he's on every statistical list, but it was kind of crazy to see him kind of just, spawn back in and just casually just be like, yeah, I'm the first player to do this.
Yeah, I don't know if basketball fans ever thought that we would see a player not just play 23 seasons, the most seasons that anybody's ever played in the history of the league, but still look like a guy who can be serviceable in the NBA. If you just look at the box score, LeBron basically had a double-double. He almost had a triple-double. I don't know how many assists he had, but he looked like he really just fit right into his role right away with the Lakers and kind of what it's going to be this year. We can get into that a little bit later, but yeah, definitely insane to see LeBron playing 23 seasons. He's back. Let's see how he looks with the Lakers, and I'm excited to watch him in the future, see how he looks.
So Bron had 12, 11, and 3, I believe, last night. That was his final
only
total.
3 assists?
No, he had 3 boards, yeah.
Yeah.
He used all his rebounding power against the Grizzlies that one time. I mean, again, came back, eased his way back into it. I feel like he can't get rid of. I know we talked about him. There's whispers around him potentially moving to the bench and leading the second unit. Whatever keeps his double-digit point streak going, man. He can't give that up.
I can't see LeBron playing on the bench ever. That doesn't sound right. I don't think we'll ever see it. It's just not.
So that's actually a good point that you bring up, though. So let's talk about that, because there have been whispers, and you can talk about it being, clickbait online, or the talking heads on Sports Center or First Take just yelling things, just talking because it's free.
It's free.
Yeah. But I feel like there has been building discussion about LeBron maybe needing to come off the bench for the sake of the Lakers maintaining their momentum. And, there is some merit to that because LeBron is such a ball-dominant guard, and the type of basketball that the Lakers have been playing without LeBron James, coincidentally, does not fit the style of play that LeBron James likes to play.
Exactly.
So all that to be said is, do you think that LeBron James should come off the bench? Well, actually, let's ask 2 questions here. You already said no to will LeBron come off the bench, and you said no. Do you think LeBron should come off the bench?
I think the answer to both questions is no. And if you watched this game last night, I think the Lakers, albeit against the Jazz, one of the worst teams in the league, they looked how I think they want to look in every game this season when they're fully healthy, with LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves out there with their big 3. And I think the way they want to look is Luka, 37 points, check. We want Luka to score the most points every night. We want him to have the ball in his hands the most out of any player on our team. And we want Austin Reeves to chip in with 20 to 25 points, see what he can give you. And then LeBron, I don't know how long it can last, but last night he looked really good playing off the ball and being that facilitator first type player. And I think in some ways, LeBron's obviously a dominant scorer. He's a career 27, 26 point per game scorer. He's a dominant scorer, no question about it. But I think he can definitely be a really, really good playmaker. Before Jokic, people were saying LeBron was the best de facto point guard in the league because of how he saw the floor, his vision. And I think he can be a version of that off the ball with the Lakers. And given LeBron's size and stature, I still think he's a guy that doesn't necessarily need to get into a rhythm right away to start a game. I think he can let his teammates get into a rhythm first, and then he can sort of build his own rhythm by himself. So I think if you're a Lakers fan, you don't put a lot of stock into last night's game because, again, you were playing the Jazz, who are one of the worst teams in the league, tanking. And and we'll talk about them a little bit later too, because they're just a goofy team, but we'll save that for later. You saw what you want to see. Luka scoring a bunch of points, getting his assist. You saw Austin Reeves scoring points. That's what he's on the floor to do, and play some good defense. And then you saw LeBron score and dish out his assist. So I think that's what the Lakers want to look like this year. I don't think LeBron needs to come off the bench for that to happen or to be successful.
Okay. It's interesting you say that, because I think that was the whole premise for this argument as to why LeBron should come off the bench, because he is such a ball-dominant non-guard, which, I mean, wherever you put LeBron in the all-time GOAT debate, he is quite literally an anomaly on every level. And so it's so hard for just a conventional system to fit him. And, it may not seem like it, but what the Lakers are running right now is a much more conventional system than what they would be running with LeBron James as the number one option.
Right.
I just can't see how you put him on the bench. There was a question. Well, actually, no, I asked the question. The Misfits main show, shout out to Elam and Mikkel, they were talking about this exact same thing about LeBron coming off the bench. And I was like, does this hurt LeBron's legacy if he comes off the bench? And they both said no. Do you think that would hurt his legacy if he came off the bench?
I don't think so. I don't think it would. I don't see why. If he's producing coming off the bench and it's the best thing for the team, I don't think it should hurt his legacy. And if people want to say, like Jordan fans, for example, that Michael Jordan would never come off the bench, that's literally what they're going to say. Like if LeBron ever does come off the bench, it would be like Michael Jordan would never come off the bench. Well, Michael Jordan also would never play 23 seasons in the NBA based on the way he treated his body and the kind of beating that he took. So LeBron is still showing his longevity. And if down the line coming off the bench is the best thing for the Lakers and it works, I don't see how that should hurt his legacy.
And Jordan rotted in DC for 2 years too.
Exactly. Yeah. Retired in the middle of his prime, by the way.
Twice.
Yeah.
Well, technically only in his prime once, but
yeah.
Speaking of, we're talking about the Lakers, because obviously the main engine as to why the Lakers are able to afford not needing LeBron to be that 25, 26 points per score a night is because, Luka Doncic has really taken the reins as the number one option. And Austin Reeves, of course, has really been a pleasant surprise. I think for maybe casuals, they think of Austin Reeves before the season as a guy who kind of fires up every once in a while when he needs to. He's kind of like a microwave catch and shoot type of guy, but he's not that. Obviously, he can very clearly be a number two option. Should Bron be option 3? Example was last night.
Yeah.
But I couldn't help but think about seeing the Lakers play so well, even before Bron came back. I couldn't help but see Luka Doncic light up teams on the floor with a very good supporting cast. DeAndre Ayton even has really started.
He had
started to really be as advertised. Which, I remember after the first game against the Warriors, we said that I made it a point. I said he got out rebounded by like Uncle Horford or something. Like he got out rebounded, which is insane by a team that doesn't have a true an equal center of his caliber. Yeah. And so all that is to say is I'm watching the Lakers play, and I can't help but think about the Dallas Mavericks because, as we mentioned last week, Nico Harrison sent Luka Doncic over there for what is going to look like it's going to be a bag of chips, because Anthony Davis, who was the number one player that they got in the trade for Luka Doncic, was announced today that the Mavericks are looking to potentially clean house, and it would start by putting Anthony Davis on the trade block. Now, there's nothing confirmed. He's not going to get traded tomorrow, presumably. But that's out in the ether now. I also could, after seeing that, and I thought about the Mavericks, I couldn't help but think about your social video that you put out a couple weeks ago. It was last week before Nico got fired.
Literally, not 9 days ago.
About how you got to give this team time. The Mavericks are not giving this team time, it seems like. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think this is literally the worst case scenario living out in real time of the Luka trade for Mavs fans. You trade, and this is what we kind of expected to happen, given how bad the trade was. You trade Luka to the Lakers, your franchise cornerstone. Was he already the best Maverick ever, like talent-wise? Like, obviously, he didn't bring him a championship, but was he the best Dallas Mavericks.
I would put
on that uniform, like maybe.
I put, you know what though, at bare minimum it's him and Dirk and then everybody else.
Exactly. So you trade that guy to the Lakers, and then the guy you get back for him, Anthony Davis, you traded for him because we think we can win a championship, but we need to play defense, and Luka doesn't play defense, so we're shipping him out to LA. Sure, fine, whatever. But now Luka's balling out in LA, averaging whatever it is, 30 plus points per game, 10 assists, and Anthony Davis is not playing. He's hurt. And you're already thinking about trading him. Like, this is the worst case scenario. Kyrie's out with his ACL issue, and it's Cooper Flag and friends out there every night. A rookie, number 1 overall pick who's trying to find his way into the NBA. And before the season started, I was one of the people who bought into the notion that the Mavs could be a sneaky playoff contender, because I'm like, Cooper Flags is, if he does live up to the hype, if he does have a decent rookie season, he has Anthony Davis next to him. He has Kyrie next to him. He's going to a team that has like some good infrastructure, like a good roster. And you have Jason Kidd, who's a good coach. And now all of that is up in smoke. Cooper Flag missed his first game today with an illness. Kyrie Irving's out. We have no idea when he's going to come back. And Anthony Davis is out. You don't really have a timetable for him. And you're already considering trading him. And the Lakers are the 2nd seed in the Western Conference, with Luka Doncic looking like he should probably be favored to, like, he should, I don't know what else he has to do to win an MVP, but if like the Lakers finish with a top 2 seed and he keeps putting up these numbers, I legitimately don't know how he shouldn't win the award this year.
He's not even, it doesn't even seem like he's a finalist right now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I love how you just went on that whole, you gave me a lot of info about how the Mavs are falling apart. And it's so bad that you didn't even mention Klay Thompson and his bad shooting. Like, you didn't even get to that point yet. And so, look, I think this puts to bed that this was not a conspiracy to move the Mavs to Vegas. Because you can't move this horrible of a team to Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, it's not working. You're trading away all your assets. You will have no star player. I mean, you'll have Cooper Flag, but what are you going to do? Start from scratch? You can't do, like, well, you could do what the Raiders did, because the Raiders have been horrible since moving to Vegas, and the A's presumably won't be much better when they eventually get there. Yeah. But I think it also proves that this was not a conspiracy theory for Cooper Flag. I really think it was dumb luck that the Dallas Mavericks ended up with Cooper Flag, because they're blowing all of this up, or they're entertaining blowing all of this up because it doesn't fit with building around Cooper Flag. That was the logic behind it. That's the messages that people are hearing from behind closed doors about why they would even trade Anthony Davis. Yeah. And I want to add, as I brought up last week, he has a huge player option at the end of this contract that he will be, I believe, 34 when he has the option to take it. And I figured that the Mavs were going to move on from him at some point, but I feel like Anthony Davis has played 45 minutes in a Mavs uniform.
Cooper Flag has played more minutes in a Mavericks uniform than Anthony Davis has dating back to last year.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And the Mavs front office is like up in smoke. Like, we already knew something was wrong there. It was up in smokes. I saw something earlier. I don't know if you saw this too, that Nico Harrison, former Mavs GM who got fired last week, and much to my surprise, because you referenced that social video I put out saying give him time, only a matter of when, but just give him time. And they literally,
I think it was the night before.
They fired him the next day. Apparently he blames Mark Cuban for them losing Jalen Brunson and guys like that. And it's interesting because if the Luka trade never happened, I think everybody forgot that. Like, everybody has moved on from the fact that Jalen Brunson also used to be on the Mavs, and he's one of the best point guards, one of the best players in the NBA. So people don't even really think about that anymore. And now you have Nico Harrison blaming Mark Cuban for that whole fiasco, how they weren't able to keep him in free agency. So that's just another layer to the story.
Kristaps Porzingis was also in a Mavericks uniform. All three of them were in uniform at the same time. And now, obviously, Porzingis has not gone on since leaving Dallas to become, this top 5 player at his position.
Yeah.
But he was a more than serviceable player on a championship team last year. Maybe he could have been a missing piece that got Dallas over the hump if he's on the other side. But yeah, I mean, we can do all this finger pointing all you want, but at the end of the day, like, Nico Harrison, you made the worst trade, not just in Mavericks history, not just in NBA history, arguably in sports history.
Right.
And so that was all you. Mark Cuban had been well out of the building since you made that trade. Yeah. Now, I don't understand where his argument is coming with that, because I hadn't heard that, by the way. So this is all news to me.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's trying to like win over with that, because if Mark Cuban gave you a disadvantage, why would you then just clean house? Wouldn't you just try and like make a, dare I say, like a D'Angelo Russell-esque move to try and appease Luka rather than just send him away?
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's like the sign stealing scandal in college football when Michigan got caught and they were like, but look at Ohio State. Don't they do this too? It's like, sure, maybe, but like, we're deflecting here. Yeah. We're pushing, we're not taking accountability here. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know Mavs fans are in shambles though, because Anthony Davis's whole thing is that, street clothes, like he's hurt all the time.
Right.
Which reminds me, because last week I didn't give you a chance to really thoroughly discuss Milwaukee Bucks dialogue. And I was going to let you talk about that today, but now Giannis is hurt. And so I want to just, for this week, talk to me like I don't watch Bucks basketball, because in reality, I don't watch that much Bucks basketball. Explain to me the gravity of this Giannis injury and like what this means for Milwaukee.
It's huge, and a big narrative surrounding the Bucks, and at least Bucks fans that I see on Twitter all the time, is that
like Hood Genius.
There's actually a conspiracy, a plot, if you will, from Adam Silver for the refs not to give Giannis calls so they can get him out of Milwaukee. That's the conspiracy that's been floating around this year about Giannis and the Bucks, because Giannis has taken a lot of hits this year already. We're not even like 20 games into the season. He's gotten beaten up pretty good, and now he's injured. And it unironically came on a play where probably should have gotten a foul call, and he ended up with a groin strain, and now he's going to be out for one. That's like, you pray 1 week, but it's most likely probably going to be 2 weeks, maybe more. And it's huge, because when you look at the numbers, I don't have them in front of me. The Bucks offensive rating with Giannis on the floor, I'm pretty sure when I last saw this, it would be the best in the NBA, whatever that number is. And when he's off the floor, it's the worst in the NBA. And so the Bucks lose their only guy who can be that primary ball handler every possession. Yes, Ryan Rollins is a nice story this year. He looks like he's shown some flashes that he could be like a really good player in this league, but it's not going to happen this year, I don't think. And Kevin Porter Jr. is already out. He got hurt in the first game of the season with an ankle injury, and then later it was a meniscus thing, so that pushed him out longer. So you're already missing him. Kyle Kuzma, it's still like he's playing better, but it's not like you can rely on him to consistently give you points the way you could when he was on the Wizards, when he was a consistent 20-point-per-game scorer. Bobby Portis isn't really an X factor like that when it comes to
not a needle mover.
Exactly. And then I don't know what happened to Gary Trent Jr., bro. Like, that fall off needs to be studied. He's been horrible this year. And so the reason why it's even more impactful is because the Bucks schedule is really hard. They just played the Lakers on Saturday. They got walloped, and then they went to Cleveland and lost. That's the game Giannis got hurt. And they were actually really competitive in that game and were up by double digits at one point. But they have the Sixers tomorrow. And then they got, I think, Portland and also the Knicks coming up, Miami, like some really tough games, a really tough stretch of games. And they're probably going to have to play that whole sequence without Giannis. And the East is already super crowded. Right now, they're sitting at the 11th seed. So if the season ended today, they wouldn't be in the play-in tournament. They wouldn't be in the playoffs. And so basically,
good thing it doesn't end today.
Into Giannis, when your groin feels better, come back and save this team and lead us to the playoffs. That's basically what this season has turned into.
You forgot a huge game. You play the Sixers tomorrow, and then you play Detroit on Saturday.
I don't even know how I glossed over that.
Ben Papp in the chat talking about the tinfoil hat for the Mavs. I think, yeah, I honestly there's some validity. I feel like to your tinfoil hat theory for the Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, Giannis. I mean, I feel like wouldn't you want to do the same for Jokic too? But I feel like Jokic is a little bit different because Jokic has been very adamant since the beginning, where he's like, if I go anywhere else, like I'll probably just dip.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna go back to Serbia. I mean, Giannis said he wants to go back to Greece, and
Yeah.
there's that too. But I don't know. I guess something to watch out for.
I feel like everybody I think the media really loves Jokic, so they don't really have a problem with him being in Denver.
I feel like everybody loves Giannis too, but I feel like because the Bucks haven't been nearly as competitive for a multitude of reasons, obviously, compared to the Nuggets as of late. Granted, Giannis never blew a 3-2 lead when he got walked out of the building on Game 6, but the Nuggets have been much more of a commercial presence in the quote unquote important games compared to Milwaukee in the last 3 years. So yeah. I guess that element makes sense, but I don't know, small. I'm pro small market team. I love when the superstars are on the small markets. Also adds for some pretty mythical jersey pools, but that's just me.
Yeah. My Damian Lillard Bucks jersey is gonna be in 10 years. That's gonna be a sight to behold.
Well, the next generation of NBA fans will be like, "What do you mean he played for the Bucks?"
Yeah,
because he will retire a Blazer, and if he gets any potential Hall of Fame nod, it will be because he was a Blazer. Anyway, the conversation about the Giannis injury had both of us thinking about. It's damn, there's a lot of NBA players injured right now. Wembanyama is still injured or just got injured again. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about the other ones that are the other players that are still in. I mean, Jalen Brunson just came back, like you said, but he was injured.
Yeah.
The Victor Wembanyama injury is particularly eyebrow raising because we've seen Giannis injuries before, and he always comes back, and he's always, he arguably gets better every time he comes back from injury. Not that those two are correlated, but the injuries haven't necessarily hindered him like other people might when you build up that many. Yeah. The Victor Wembanyama injury is an eyebrow raiser, and maybe you don't share the same sentiment as concerning of a sentiment, but this is now the second year in a row where he has suffered not a long-term devastating injury, but an injury that's severe enough to where you do look at it and you stare at it for a little bit and you just think, what does that look like if he keeps getting injuries like that? Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I got you for sure.
Of course, the blood clot injury, the blood clots last year was kind of, I don't know the science behind blood clots, but it doesn't seem like it's something that he can necessarily control. If you sprain your ankle, it's you just landed on your ankle wrong. Blood clots, obviously there's difference there. But with Wembanyama's injury right now, it just seems like you just kind of get a little frustrated, not at him, of course, but you're kind of just you hope we're kind of at a crossroads already because this is year 3. Mm-hmm. We're at a crossroads I feel like we're rapidly approaching a crossroads where is Victor Wembanyama going to keep being hobbled by injuries?
Yeah. No, it's definitely a valid question. And I think knowing the initial concerns for Wemby when he was drafted, everybody saw the talent, what he could do on the court, and it's translating. He's definitely already one of the best players in the league. All of his concerns before the draft were, is his body going to be able to hold up? Because he's however tall he is, 7'4", 7'5", whatever it is. But he's really, really skinny and really lanky. So he has to be able to build up his body to be able to survive the fast-paced environment that is the NBA, completely up and down, threes. And so I think part of the early struggles he's had in his career with injuries, like you said, the blood clot isn't really something that's controllable. Injuries themselves aren't necessarily controllable.
Well, yeah.
You can do what you can off the court to build up your body, your conditioning, to try and prevent it as best you can. But if you get injured, you get injured. And this one's particularly concerning because it's a calf injury.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say.
Every time you think about calf injury, I just think about Achilles. That's what I relate it to.
I immediately thought about Kevin Durant's injury in the 2019 playoffs.
Kevin Durant and just last season in the finals, Tyrese Halliburton. He was dealing with calf issues in that series against the Thunder. And they were he feels fine enough to play, so he's going to play. And then in Game 7, it backfired on him, and he ruptured his Achilles. I don't remember if Jason Tatum, if they were saying he was dealing with calf issues in the Knicks series, I don't remember him having any like problems that were reported. That was just kind of, I feel like, a very unfortunate like situation. His Achilles just gave out on him. I don't know if he was already dealing with issues, but the fact that it's a calf injury is even more concerning. And obviously, if you're the Spurs, you err on the side of caution and keep him out as long as possible until he feels close to whatever you can get to 100%, as close to that as you can get until he comes back.
Yeah. I mean, again, you don't want to. I think the Kevin Durant injury kind of desensitized, at least, I mean, he was playing for my team at the time, but like Kevin Durant came back from an Achilles tear and played just as good.
Yeah.
He's now kind of like slowly entering his twilight, very slowly.
Yeah.
But most of that doesn't happen for most players.
Right.
And you talked about, Wembanyama's, his whole main concern was his durability. Is he going to be able to be durable? And obviously his body now 2+ years in has been changing to adapt to the NBA setting. But, oh, dude, an Achilles tear would be horrible. And obviously that's the last thing anybody wants.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm glad that they're erring on the side of caution. They said he's going to be out a few weeks as of right now. So you hope that resolves everything and they'll be okay. But yeah, it's just, it's really unfortunate. And again, I think we can avoid the crossroads if they take proper care of his calf injury. And I think that if there's ever an organization that you can trust to do that, it's the Spurs.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard. We were talking about what?
Kawhi Leonard wouldn't agree with that though.
It leads you to wonder about. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is still hurt right now.
Yeah. Like, what was his issue in San Antonio? Because I remember he played 2016, 2017, and then he played like 9 games the next season and then sat out the rest of the year. It was like
a quad injury.
A quad injury. And I think he was like saying they were misdiagnosing his injury or whatever. And that's part of the reason why he had the falling out. And then they traded him to the Raptors. It got DeRozan. I think that's like part of what happened. So yeah, everybody loves the Spurs medical staff except for Kawhi Leonard.
Allegedly. So I've been told. But it got us, you were talking about it. You're like, I just can't believe how many players are injured. And you talked about, you said this before we went live, it's the pace of the game. Although it's not what old heads like in terms of, the physicality. I think you and I will both agree that this is the most physically demanding the game of basketball has ever been. For sure. In terms of, what players are asked to do, how much Swiss Army knife of a player you need to be to get one of those roster spots, much less, play basketball period at a competitive level across the world.
Yeah.
So I think in that regard, it makes sense why you see injuries more often. And I do think it gets to a point where, I'm going to sound like Eck when I say this. I do think it gets to a point where medicine can't catch up, at least right now, with the physical demands of the game. Obviously, rehabbing and, getting your body back to 100% is what a lot of medical advancements have done. But those are resolutions. They aren't problem solving.
Yeah.
So, there's been, I feel like not this season, but we've heard it in the past, conversations about potentially shortening the season.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, I'm not going to say I agree with Eck because Eck was the first person that talked about this, and I will not give him that. We can discuss this whenever he comes back, but I do think that it's worth listening to more, especially if I think, if God forbid like an Achilles tear were to happen to like Victor Wembanyama, for example, or, what if it happens to like Luka Doncic, for example, which, many people argue that the league right now is Luka Doncic's league. Then I wonder if that happens to another player, you just feel like, are we going to have a conversation about this? Especially if it happens like while people are still getting over and teams are still feeling the repercussions of what happened in the playoffs with all those Achilles tears.
Yeah, it's almost, I do buy into that. Like if one of the league's next superstars, God forbid, suffers an injury that keeps them out for an extended period of time, an entire season, then like Adam Silver and everyone will take a look in the mirror and be like, do we really need to consider shortening the season to 65 games or 70 games or whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, Eck would love this too. It's all about the ratings. They need the ratings to be sufficient enough to compete with, I guess, really just the NFL. That
we're using all of X favorites buzzwords.
Yeah.
I think one solution, and let me know if you agree or disagree with this. One solution that I think you can do before shortening the season is, dude, you got to cut back on back-to-backs, man. Like,
would you get rid of them completely or just cut back on them?
Well, I felt like within the last 10 years, do you remember when basketball, the NBA used to start right before Halloween? It was like the 27th, 28th, like that's when it used to start. And they pushed it back, like they moved the start date up about like a week or so. To their whole point was they wanted to cut back on back-to-backs, get rid of 4 games in 5 nights.
Yeah.
Which I love. I think that's a great thing. Why not push it back like one more week?
Yeah.
Like, I think about, and obviously the Warriors right now, and I don't mean to make this all about me, but I am making this all about my team. The Warriors are kind of a freak example, but like, dude, they're playing like a majority of their road games before January 1st.
Yeah.
Like, why the hell is one of the oldest teams in basketball doing, like, why, who gave them this?
Right.
So, like, they're on a 6-game road trip right now, which, you know, that happens obviously, but like, you were playing in Orlando last night. You got Miami tonight. You played San Antonio twice.
Right.
With Thursday, Saturday, or no, Wednesday, Friday, I think.
Yeah.
And then, but you played OKC the night before. Like, dude, that's such a. And Stephen Curry hasn't played. Well, he didn't play tonight.
Yeah.
But you know, he sat out. He's had to sit out multiple games. I mean, he's been sick too. But
yeah,
it's just. I think before you start, I would be open to hearing about reducing the season, but I know a lot of, you know, traditionalists, and this part I do understand, like they don't want to shorten the NBA season.
Yeah.
So let's find other ways to change this. Like give players more rest during the season. Like let's start the season in the middle of October, right smack in the middle. It moves it up probably about another week. You could cut back even more on back-to-backs. Like a 6-game road trip becomes infinitely easier when there's no back-to-backs on it.
Yeah.
So I just think that is the first avenue that they should go down. Are they actually going to go down that route? We'll see. But I feel like they've already done it. They've already pushed the season back already, or like started it earlier already. Mm-hmm. I don't see why you couldn't do it again.
Yeah, cutting back-to-backs is definitely the move, because if you think about what a back-to-back is, obviously we don't play in the NBA. We don't know what it's like to experience.
I don't in fact play in the NBA.
You play a game, it ends at 8 o'clock, or not even 8 o'clock, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
No, it's like 9:30, 10 because it's the whatever local time it is.
You got to go back to the locker room, like shower, get ready, then do media, and then basically go hop on a plane and travel to the next city. You don't even get in until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. You get like whatever sleep you can, and then you got to wake up, I don't know if they do like full, I imagine they don't do like full practices for back-to-back.
But like shoot-arounds and everything.
Shoot-arounds, like walkthroughs, things like that. And then you got to play again the next day. Like that's just, it's brutal on the body. And I think you were talking about the Warriors. I think I saw a quote from, I think you may have saw this too. Steve Kerr said it was either after a game or before a game. He was like, this is the hardest start to a season I've ever had as a coach, just because of like all the traveling that we've done.
They've played 18 games in 31 days, Palmore.
Yeah, no, that's
insane.
Yeah.
Like the age aside, I don't care if I had a team full of AAU kids, like, and they're like 8, like they're in the prime of like they're perfectly healthy and all of that stuff. They're young and all of that. 18 games in 31 days at the highest level of professional basketball in the world is just a level of physical demand that just is like criminal. I understand that these players get paid millions, most of the time tens of millions of dollars to play a sport.
Yeah.
Like, I understand there's an element of privilege there, and they put in a lot of work. Their main job, you get paid all that money to, gross oversimplification, be good at basketball.
Right.
But that doesn't excuse that you might have to look, the NBA might have to look at itself in the mirror and be like, are we asking too much of these men?
Yeah.
Because again, the ratings, like the ratings go down if you don't have your best players available to play. Like Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler did not play tonight versus the Heat. And you know,
Draymond too.
Did
Draymond play?
Oh, I didn't check.
I can check right now.
You're exposing me for not fully watching the game. But Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, did not play. So all your three best players didn't play.
Yeah.
So what do you mean?
Play either, it looks like.
Who?
Al Horford.
That's Unk, bro. But what do you mean? Like, if I was looking to buy tickets last minute, I'm not going to buy tickets to with all due respect, watch a team led by Brandon Pajemski, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Pods is great. He's a Santa Clara guy. Like, he's always seemed like a really nice dude. Goes to Valkyries games, respect. But bro, he can't be the number one option on this team.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, it's going to start messing with their paper a little bit more. And I think, unfortunately, again, part of the media rights deals but
yeah,
they've been getting paid so much money from that this might not hurt their pockets as much as people think it will. But they will see if these injuries continue to pile up, which, again, just because of the physical nature of the game, they probably will, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think eventually they will see it. But again, shortening the season shouldn't be the answer. I don't think that is the answer. I think you would have to point a gun to Adam Silver's head before he even remotely even says out loud that they would shorten the season. I think you got to expand the season timeline though, which people are like, why? I'd be like, well, because your boy doesn't get hurt.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I see it from both sides. You brought up a lot of good points. Fans get mad when players sit because how are you going to take days off? You get paid to play basketball. All you have to do, you make millions and millions of dollars just to be, like you said, oversimplification, be good at basketball. But then the trade-off is I can't be good at basketball, give you my absolute best if I'm not physically able to do so. And basketball is a contact sport. Injuries are going to come regardless, but if there's ways you can prevent it, I think that the league should seriously look at it, because I understand from a fan's perspective, you're upset. A team's on a road trip, especially a team like the Warriors. The Warriors just have a really funky and unique schedule. So they're a good team to talk about when it comes to this, especially because of who their best player is, Steph Curry, who I think is the most popular player in the league. I don't care.
If Steph Curry sustains a long-term injury, then you see the ratings go down, bro.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is one of, I would say, 5 players in basketball, maybe not even 5, maybe 3, where when Steph Curry is hurt, not only do Warriors fans tune out, but whoever they play, their fans might tune out. And even casuals, they're like, oh, Steph Curry's not playing. Why? What does, they think the NBA goes on pause. They don't really care.
I think you would agree with this. I think he entered this category a while ago. It for sure isn't recently. Before casual, I think the NBA was at a point where I think the only household name that everybody knew, even if you didn't watch a single second of basketball, was LeBron. Everybody knew who LeBron was. You didn't have to be a basketball fan. You could be a basketball fan. It didn't matter. I think the only current player who's in that stratosphere with him is Steph Curry. I think he's the only one. I wouldn't put KD there. I wouldn't put Wemby, Shea, these guys. I think Steph Curry's the only one. And when you look at it from the Warriors' perspective, fans are going to get mad and they're on this road trip, especially these East Coast teams they're playing. They play.
You play them once a year.
That's the only game on the schedule that those guys are going to be there. And yeah, Steph played against the Magic, didn't play against the Heat. So I know fans are going to be mad that for the fans in Florida, that's their only chance to see Steph Curry play, or at least the fans that live around Miami. They're not going to see him play again this year. But it's what do you want them to do? They can't. They have to be able to protect themselves.
This will be my final point because we got to move on. We got a couple other things to talk about. We got to talk about Cade and them too.
Yeah.
I did a quick search. I advocated for starting the NBA season early, and here's a perfect example. This isn't apples to oranges, more like oranges to lemons. The NBA season started this year on October 21st. So we are about a month into the season. The NHL season, which, it's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. The NHL season started 2 weeks earlier on October 7th. So the NHL season is 2 weeks longer because it goes right around the same time. The Stanley Cup runs right around the same time as the NBA Finals do.
Right.
I don't see the issue with starting the NBA season even a week earlier. I understand that you want to kind of have your own thing and you want to celebrate the NBA starting. So don't put it on the same day that hockey starts, but you also are a bigger commercial brand than the NHL. So it won't matter really to you. But if the NHL starts this early, why can't the NBA? That's my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe the NHL plays the same amount of games too.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Before we move on, though, just like really quickly, what do you think about the household name thing? Like, do you think there are other players in the league where undoubtedly every person on the planet knows who that guy is?
It's I feel like it's a nuanced thing because if you go to basketball across the world and you ask people, you're like, who's Wembanyama? Everybody knows who Wembanyama is outside of the United States. I feel like everybody in Europe who follows basketball knows Wembanyama. I feel like, but we're not talking about Europe. Yeah. If you go to China, Stephen Curry, I remember in 2016 when he had them big ass Under Armour shorts on. By the way, he's no longer being a part of Under Armour.
Speaking of China, I think before Curry, like Kobe Bryant was that guy too, where everybody knew who Kobe Bryant was.
I think what you're saying is not ridiculous. I think that there is some, because I also think it's as weird as it sounds. It's the name. Like when you say Curry, you think of the player before you think of the food, probably.
Yeah.
There's been nobody else of remote importance that has the name LeBron.
Yeah.
Like he literally just goes by. You say Bron, and everybody knows who that is. Same with Kobe. Like it's the same thing, and probably MJ from the '90s as well, because he literally went by two initials.
Yeah.
I struggle right now. I'll probably say it's only Curry, like with LeBron, but I do feel like if we were to circle back to this conversation in a couple years, or when both Stephen Curry and LeBron James are retired, I think Victor Wembanyama would take that place more so than Luka Doncic, in my opinion. Just because Victor Wembanyama is an alien.
Yeah,
I think it would. I think the two players that could take those places, maybe not even about meeting the same caliber, but take those places would be Wembanyama and probably Luka, because he plays on the Lakers.
Yeah,
if Luka Doncic was still in Dallas, that wouldn't be the case. So there's the one silver lining about him being in LA.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I never thought of it like that, because you always think about it's Bron, it's Steph, and it's KD. But I love KD, but I don't know if he's if you go to
KD's close, but I don't know if he's in that category.
If you go to Brazil, and you ask fans if they know who Kevin Durant is or who KD is,
I think you can get a couple no's.
You might get a couple no's, but if you go just again, Brazil is an example. You're who LeBron is or Curry. You'll probably see LeBron and Curry jerseys there.
Yeah.
You don't see no KD Phoenix Suns jerseys, bro.
Funny, earlier today I saw a Chris Paul Suns jersey. Somebody walking around.
Are you serious?
Paul, yeah, and the Valley jersey. It was pretty funny.
Okay, but low-key, that jersey's tough though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Speaking of jerseys, I keep advocating for the Pistons to bring back those crazy ass Grant Hill era
horse
jerseys. Bring those back. I think they brought them back at one point, recently.
Was it last year? It might have been last year.
It might have been last year. Yeah. Keep them going, dude. I love that. Let's talk about the Pistons really quickly. We got to rifle through this. The Pistons have won 11 in a row. We talked about they're playing the Bucks this coming weekend. The Pistons just took care of the Hawks, who, by the way, were on their own 5-game winning streak. Dude, I am just going to continue to lie and say that I had Detroit the whole time before the season.
And that's not a bad idea, because if you're technically not lying though. You said, can the Pistons, because I was going to pick the Magic. I picked the Magic to make the finals. I'm on record saying that. Doesn't look that good right now. But I remember you saying could the Pistons mess around and win an East that every player is injured and they're the only healthy team? Sure, I think they can definitely do it. And I said this in my social video last week. In addition to there being unlimited Wingstop in Detroit now because they're winning so many games. I don't know if they still do that for wins.
Probably not.
But it was pretty funny when they had that 28 game losing streak in 2023. That was the post-game promo. If the Pistons win a home game, you get discounted wings or whatever. And they were losing so much. So it was never able to be applied.
The wings were going bad.
Yeah. And now they have the best record in the East and Cade Cunningham is like a dark horse MVP candidate. I say dark horse because he should be considered, but I don't think he'll get like real.
Oh, he won't be considered.
But
they'd make Giannis a finalist before they make Cade a finalist.
Yeah, I mean,
like
Giannis has been a finalist every year since he won his first one in 2018.
Sorry, they'll give Giannis another MVP before they make Cade a finalist.
Yeah.
I do think that I don't know. It's interesting because Cade. I mean, we talked about the record for most shot at missed the other night when they to extend their winning streak. But I don't know. It's just I'm being cautiously optimistic because I'll keep saying I was rocking with the Pistons from day zero. Back I remember the days when they put the L graphics up on Twitter and the Wingstop logo was so big that it looked like the Pistons lost to Wingstop.
Yeah.
Like I remember those days.
Yeah.
I say that like I'm a Pistons fan, but I don't know. It's been fun. And every time I think of the Pistons winning games, I think especially right now, I can't help but think about when Shaq like totally disregarded them last year. About how
didn't even know who their coach was.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
I think he still thought it was Monty Williams.
Yeah.
Something like that. And
I do feel like with the changing NBA media sphere, with all these new companies coming into it, I do think that teams like the Pistons are getting their due diligence because I mean, part of it is they have former players now as analysts, and there's inherently more competition for ESPN,
right?
Which I think is a good thing because I think if the Pistons were to be on this winning streak like 2 years ago, for example, I don't know if we talk about it nearly as much as people were talking about it now.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Which I think is a great thing, but it's interesting.
I mean, things are looking up in Detroit. Like Cade Cunningham getting his own signature shoe. Have you seen his logo, by the way? It's fire. Mm-mm. It's a star, but it's a star made of his initials, CC. It's really cool. You should look it up when you get a chance.
I'll look it up. Yeah, I'll look it up after this. I think that the Pistons being as good as they are is, I mean, we could talk about, small market teams being good for bad. Detroit's not even a small market, really. It's like a medium-sized market, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the Pistons being this good, it really just goes back to the point that we were talking about over a month ago before the season started, which is, dude, I don't know who can win the Eastern Conference. My thought that I had on the record on the social video is, if it's not going to be, I gave kind of a non-answer because I said if the Cavs or Knicks don't do it this year, I don't think they're ever going to do it with this iteration of these teams.
Yeah.
And I still believe that because if you can't beat the Pistons, like no disrespect to the Pistons, I'm rocking with them. But if the talent rosters of the Cavs and the Knicks on paper are inherently better.
Yeah.
So if you can't beat the Detroit Pistons to win the Eastern Conference, you, with all due respect, don't reserve the right to even win the Eastern Conference at all.
Yeah. Even though, because all around, like you said, I think Cade at this point might be the best player in either series, but all around, the talent on those teams is definitely better than what Detroit has. Even though I wanted to bring up Jalen Duren too. He's like a candidate. He should probably win Most Improved Player this year.
Mm-hmm.
Basically like a 20 and 10 guy. Or 20 and 12, actually. He's averaging like 11.9 rebounds. Like those two guys, you have Duncan Robinson,
Macklemore,
Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart.
Dude, Beef Stew's one of the best defenders in basketball right now.
Yeah. When he's not like flagrantly fouling and wrestling people, he's like actually a pretty good basketball player. Who knew?
So, and then Asar Thompson, he's averaging nearly 2 steals a game. The Pistons are, we got to move on, but like the Pistons are, they're just a great defensive team too. Like, I don't know, which is something that, take it with a grain of salt in terms of defense. But, I agree. Cade would probably be in a series with most teams or like the top teams theoretically in the Eastern Conference, like the Cavs and Knicks. He'd probably be the best player, but like the other team would probably have the second, fourth, fifth, and sixth best player on the court. So it's like, you gotta understand that. But speaking of best players on the court, the Pistons are doing well. Cade, obviously, I think he had an injury recently, but the Pistons have been dealing with injury luck. Like they've been favorable. They've been on the court. we've been talking about injuries, but what if a player is not available because it fouls out? And so you're rolling your eyes because I know you've been waiting to talk about this. We're 50 minutes in, and best for last, I guess. You were telling me you brought to my attention how Jazz rookie Ace Bailey, famous enjoyer of Utah Ace Bailey, fouled out of a basketball game in just 10 minutes. Now, my first initial reaction was, how do you stay in the game for that long to foul out in such a short time? Yeah. So walk me through your reaction to this.
So the reason why I shouldn't be as passionate about this as I am.
But it's okay that you are.
It's Utah Jazz basketball and it's Ace Bailey. Like, with all due respect, they're both kind of irrelevant right now. But they're relevant because I lost a fantasy basketball matchup by 2 points this past week because Ace Bailey fouled out and couldn't play the game to get me the points I needed to surpass my opponent. But anyway, you foul out in 10 minutes of play. Something else that I told you was I think I could legitimately play an NBA basketball game. I don't have to score. I can miss as many shots as I want. I can give up whatever points on defense. I'm not fouling out in 10 minutes. I can survive more than 10 minutes in an NBA game today. I don't know how that's possible to foul out in 10 minutes. I just don't understand it. And then when it happened, I tried to look it up and see if anybody else had fouled out faster. And I'm sure like people who have access to the certain tools that you would need to find that information could get me like a list of the fastest players to foul out. But the only example that came up was when Bubba Wells, who used to play for the Mavericks, fouled out in 3 minutes of game time because they put him in to intentionally foul Dennis Rodman. It was a hack of Rodman before a hack of Shaq. He was in the game to intentionally foul Dennis Rodman and put him on the free throw line. And it didn't work because he fouled out, but Rodman went 9 of 12 from the free throw line. So he made like over 70% of his free throws. So it didn't even work and he fouled out. But like other than that, I don't think there's an example of a player fouling out that quickly in a game. And I think
it's not like a hack a Shaq type of thing.
Exactly. Like the bigger picture for this is I know Ace Bailey's been playing a little bit better. Before that game, he had 2 games where he actually looked pretty good. But the reason why I think this is kind of a big deal is because the draft did not go well for Bailey, obviously. Like allegedly he wanted to go to Washington. That was his dream destination. He would have preferred to be on the Wizards. You didn't want to go to Utah. There's rumors that your agent, who isn't his agent anymore, I think they parted ways, was giving him advice before the draft to like not do workouts with other teams. Like he declined workouts with the Sixers, I think. Like I think the Sixers wanted to take him. They were just like, this dude didn't want to work out with us, so they took VJ instead. And at the beginning of the season, it looked like that was a really good decision. We'll see how it plays out in the long term.
Well, VJ wants to be there. That's the difference.
Exactly. Like you missed out on being a top 3 pick, which you probably should have been.
That's a lot of money too.
You end up in Utah and you're averaging 8 points per game or whatever it is as a rookie, for shooting 40% from the field. And then when you have all this drama about not wanting to be there, you foul out in 10 minutes, which again, I just don't understand. I get you're a rookie and the NBA is hard, but how do you foul out in 10 minutes? I just don't get it. It shouldn't be possible.
So I brought up the fact that yes, it's Ace. Like, how do you commit 5 fouls in 10 minutes or 6 fouls in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
But like, how is the coach? Do you not keep him, like substitute him out, bro? Like, he should have, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, how do you not substitute him out?
I think he picked up his first 5 fouls in 7 minutes. So he lasted 3 minutes before he picked up his 6th foul and fouled out.
And like obviously,
even then the point still stands. Like, how are you letting your guy pick up that many fouls in less than 10 minutes?
And obviously he didn't play like just 10 minutes straight or whatever. And like, it's not like, I'm not saying like that, but like, you can't be more aware. I think, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to completely void Ace Bailey of responsibility here because, like, dude, come on, 6 fouls. That's literally a foul less than every 2 minutes. That's just unacceptable as an NBA player. Yeah. But as the coaching staff, I feel like there's also an element of discipline there that you really need to instill because this isn't just a NBA rookies trend. We wouldn't be as shell shocked about it if we saw this more often because it doesn't happen. Yeah. So like Coach Hardy needs to get it together. What do you call it? Masterclass of, I'm not going to say the last word, but
yeah, if you want to talk about a masterclass of that was that for sure.
So
and what was funny about that game was it almost went to triple overtime, and the Jazz won. And
didn't Keontae George hit the game winner?
Points.
Keontae George hit the game winner, right?
Keontae George hit the game winner, and Lauri Markkanen had 47 points, and they won in double overtime.
That's my Warriors center right there.
The game is Ace Bailey fouling out in 10 minutes because that's just
now. If he hadn't fouled out, who knows? Maybe they would have not needed overtime.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I knew you needed to get that off your chest, especially with the fantasy loss. So, I think that's a perfect way to end tonight's show. But masterclass of especially from the Mavericks too. Sorry, Mavs fans. That's all the time we have for this week's episode of the PHWA. We will be back next week. More consistent schedule now on Wednesday nights, so stay tuned for that. Any final thoughts, Daniel?
No, Ace Bailey, get it together, bro. Will Hardy.
Is he gambling? I'm not actually no. I was asking if he's gambling, but I don't even want to open that can of worms because then they're gonna come knocking on my door.
Yeah, and I mean we were talking about the Pistons too. It'd be cool to have like Chauncey Billups as a guy that's like talking about the Pistons a lot but he's dealing with his own issues.
Chauncey Billions.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all. We'll see you all next week. For Daniel, I'm Ethan. We'll talk to you next week.
Peace.